Hello, Shuni. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike. Hello, Caio. Nice to see you guys.
Hi, Srini. Hi, Caio.
Nice to meet you, and thank you for joining us live.
Thank you so much.
All right. So first of all, are you an iOS developer?
Yes, I am an iOS developer. So I started development like 7 years ago. I started with web development. Then after 2 years, I switched to iOS development, and I have been developing in iOS for about 5 years now.
Awesome. Yeah, I also switched from backend to mobile development. Nice. All right. So how can we help you?
Yeah, so the first question I wanted to ask was, yeah, I have watched a couple of your modules from the course, and I really like the TDD approach. Before this, I was not doing TDD. I used to write the feature, and then on top of that, I used to write the tests.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like kind of a workaround, I think. And after watching your series, I believe TDD is much cleaner, and it is helping me a lot in terms of even finding the corner cases and all. So I started doing those things. And the problem I'm facing is if the feature is very big and it's not a single screen or two screens, I'm confused as how to approach the feature with TDD approach. Like if I start writing the tests, will it drive me to a architecture of that feature, or should I have to design the architecture first, and then based on that I will start writing TDD?
Okay. So if you need to let the test drive the design, or if you need to come up with the design upfront, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you do it nowadays? What is your approach to a big feature?
Yeah, usually I just do it in first draw first, and then design. I come up with a couple of designs, architecture, and after that I start with the actual components.
Right. So you
Okay.
do a little bit of design upfront,
Yes.
and you start implementing it. And you
Mm.
would write a test afterwards.
Yes.
Okay. And
And
why do you want to change this order of designing upfront and then the test?
Because I feel that sometimes while developing for a big feature, I sometimes get too much consumed in the architecture, finding the corner cases and all, and sometimes I end up with 3 or 4 iterations of the architecture for one particular feature. And yeah, that's what I was thinking. So if I do initially with TDD, I would just come up with the initial design of what is required and build up on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I recommend. I recommend that you do a little bit of design upfront and then you test drive that implementation.
Okay.
Because if you stop to design the whole feature upfront, it may take you maybe, I don't know, a week,
Yeah.
right? If it's a big feature, you need to slice it, like break it down into smaller tasks. And then if you start designing all the little details, by the end of a week, maybe your boss is going to change their mind. There will be a change in the market. There will be a change in the business, and you're going to have to go back to the design phase. But if you design just a more high level view of how you think that architecture will be, and you start test driving that solution, as you
Okay.
start test driving that solution, you might come up, uh, you might face some challenges. You might feel like, oh, this design is not working. Then you can very quickly adjust it because you get quick feedback, right? You don't wait a week to start working. You start
Yes.
working and you see if the design is working or not, right? You get early feedback.
Right.
yeah, you
But you
also
need to do
mentioned,
a little bit of upfront design, just a little bit, because can you let the test drive the design? Yes. When you're very, very, very comfortable with TDD and very comfortable with designing applications, like when you are like Uncle Bob, yes, you can because they have all these skills as second nature, right?
Mm.
And one
Right.
day it will be second nature and it will be much more efficient because you can just test drive the design up front. But if you're
Mm.
just starting out, I recommend you think a little bit about the design and then you test drive the implementation. Sorry, Mike, I cut you.
no. I think that's exactly what you need to do. What I want to say is like how you can even help yourself more is you mentioned that it's like a big feature, right? That maybe you said like it's not one screen or something like that. So
Yeah.
maybe try even breaking down, like this feature into smaller parts, and now you have to deal, just with one of them, right? But you know how to compose them all together, right? You learn that in the course as well, with a centralized place for composing all modules, right? So now what you have to do is deal with separate modules that are much smaller, more manageable chunks of code, right? And yeah, you set you start out and you set gradually good abstractions, and as Caio said, just this initial design idea of what you want to build, and then just start test driving it. Yeah.
Sure.
That's why I don't like templates, that tell you like, oh, we need to have all these layers. No,
Right. Yeah.
what is the principle? Yagni, you ain't gonna need it. So you only implement things that you're gonna need when you need them.
Yeah.
Because then you can be much more efficient. You don't waste time with things that you may never use, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, as Mike said, like slicing big features. Like if you want to go to Mars, like it can be very overwhelming thinking about like everything you need to do, because you cannot come up with everything you need to do. But like you can break down that in many tasks, many smaller tasks that eventually will get you to Mars.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, imagine like having a whole new feature, maybe 5 screens, persistence, networking, caching. Your PO says, oh, we have like, I don't know, 3 weeks to do these things also. Yeah.
It needs to align with the marketing campaign.
Yeah. It will be overwhelming, right? It's gonna happen. So what you need to do is be prepared and like learn how to segment the problem, break it down, and knowing exactly what belongs where. For example, like a good separation of concerns, dependency inversion, with your frameworks and your core logic being separated. And yeah, just grind it out. Once you have the idea what you want to do, you just grind it out.
Perfect.
And a side effect of that is that you're going to be much better at estimating your tasks. Because if you break down a big feature into smaller tasks are much easier to estimate more accurately.
Yes.
Makes sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
And communicate to other team members as well, and also lead them, because they're gonna be overwhelmed as well, right? And if they see the leader being overwhelmed, then that's probably not very good. The morale is not gonna be that high. So yeah, it's easier to communicate to them what they need to do exactly, set some the appropriate context and boundaries for their work, right? And also it's going to help you define what done is for you, for the team, for them, right? For everyone.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Awesome.
Did we answer your question?
Yeah, cleanly.
So a little bit of design up front and let the test drive the rest, and you adjust, refactor as needed. Because with tests in place, you can change your implementation more safely.
Right.
Anything else?
Yeah. So the last question would be, so I'm thinking about doing some contributions open source in order to learn and grow with other developers worldwide. And so I'm a little confused, and I'm not sure where to look. I searched in Google and it came up with a lot of answers, and like which community to target, or basically how to start with the open source contributions.
Right. I think the easiest way to start is to contribute to a framework, a project that you use at work, right? Do you have any projects that you use? Third
No.
party?
Yeah, we are not. We are planning not to use any third-party libraries. Yeah, but we still use 2 or 3, but we keep it limited.
Right. But you probably use something like CocoaPods or Carthage or something like that, right? that's a project you can use, right? You can help.
Right.
For example, there's a feature you want, but they don't offer it. You could
Right.
propose an implementation. If they accept, you can implement it, right?
Okay. So
That's one way.
got it. So basically, just go through their code in which is open source, and then come up with new feature or find anything if there is a bug.
Just go to the issues tab on GitHub. You'll find a bunch of stuff you can help them solve.
Okay.
Hundreds and hundreds of issues.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the easy way, because like it's right there, the issues are there and they are open for contributions.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it's a product that you use, so you can also make it better for you and your team.
Right.
Yeah, and so open source projects are maintained by communities, right? I would also urge you to find the right values, like for you on those communities, so you're all aligned. Because at the end of the day, this is what makes open source projects, thrive over time, right? It's like a community of people with the same values that they keep producing, like good software, basically. So yeah, I think that's what Caio says. I think that's the easiest thing to do, and that's I also suggest is how you start. And as you progress, like you're gonna be exposed to more and more, of the ways of how these things work, like how these projects work and how the communities behind them work. So yeah, have that in mind as well. Like contribute to something that you believe in. Something that is, yeah.
That I've been working on, and right, makes sense.
For example, you care about testing, you care about good design, so you need to find communities that care about the same thing. Otherwise, you're gonna try to create pull requests and they're gonna be rejected.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Find people with the same values. There's no right or wrong. It's just aligning the values.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's
it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Next one. Walid, hello.
Hi. Hello, Mike. Hello, Caio. Thank
Hi,
you
Walid.
for the invitation.
How are you?
First, I represent myself. I'm Walid Sassi. I come from Tunisia. Now I live in Paris in France. I'm iOS the developer since 2011 with Objective-C and interface builder Xcode the version 3, I think.
Good old days.
Yeah.
But I come with I begin practice iOS developer with my friends, which is also iOS developer. We work for some remote projects, especially in Dubai for the first time. We work for I think 2 years together, and from 2014 to 2016, I back to make some research works, because first of all, I am a teacher, university. I work especially as a professor in the university. I teach distributed systems like Corba, etc., some consensus algorithms, and I'm very fascinated with Apple. That's why I learn Objective-C and also Swift 3, Swift 4, etc. So I have really the opportunity come with in 2016 with in Tunisia with a society that give me that opportunity to have the double role, to work as a teacher and also as an iOS developer. And thanks to him, it was really very, 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 very attractive opportunity for me. So I work especially for HIX application, which I made a very important number of application based on Objective-C and Swift. Since 2 years, I think, I come to Paris. I worked first of all to RATP, which is a very important society for bus, trains in Paris, which I worked, I think, 1 year. Really, it was really very high level for me. I discovered the high level of programmer, senior programmer, architect, etc. I discovered how I didn't have. I thought that I'm senior, but I'm not senior. When we compare to this developers, I discover that I'm not a senior developer, and I try to progress with him, to learn from him. They have a very they have rigors. They have in review. They make review for every minimal chance. They are very they have very high level in reviews. In architecture, we use clean architecture based on Viper. That's why it's for me really a challenge to discover Viper, make some tests, unit tests. But this mission is end. Now I'm with another great society, it's Sephora, and I know that maybe you know it's a multinational retailer of cosmetic products. Very large country, very in Middle East, in France, in Italy, in Spain. I work with really great others developers with also clean architecture based on MVVM and programming. The opportunity, I think that with this developers, I have a large of opportunity to make tests, to a lot of I think permission that I didn't have in the last with the last mission. My problem is, I think that usually I try to make things perfectly. That's why I think that I'm not a senior developer. When I speak with other developers, they think that I'm senior. But for me, I'm not a senior when we compare to really developers who code framework, very complicated framework. I didn't do this. That's why I'm not considered. I don't think that I'm a senior developer. And that's why I intend to be an essential developer. I want to be one of this developer student that learn really how to be a senior developer.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's why. Really, my problems how to make stubbing or mocks of some. We use now Moya. It's a very high level networking. I make tests for view models, etc. But I have very difficult how to mocks the Moya layers. How to think about this. It's for me. It's for me the real issue for me. How to understand how to make things, especially when we work. I work with some technology that didn't. We didn't have a lot of documentation about this. Yes, because I think that really I didn't understand very well how to make stubbing, how to make mocks. For me, that's the problem. Another problem, how to use really design pattern, especially creational design pattern like factory, I buy a book, design pattern Swift 5, but I didn't understand very well what the authors speak about. I didn't understand how to apply this paradigm in the real application with the view controller, with view models, with the, I don't know, presenter, etc., with different layers. How to make this to make this design pattern applicable in my legacy code, in my projects which I work.
Right.
That's the real issue for me. How to apply this design pattern, how to make mock and stabbing very well, and how to distinguish between mock stabbing really in the legacy code, not only in single sample projects.
Right. So if you have the skills, it doesn't matter if it's a new project or an old project or whatever, you just can apply those skills. Agree?
Yes.
So the first thing you need to do is to build those skills, and you build those skills by practicing, right? The practice come before the understanding. So you have books. The books show you ways you can achieve things. Did you try to apply them? Did you practice?
Yes, I try, but I would like to apply this in my projects with my teammates in the project to give real value to our projects. I made some tests. Yes, I made some tests for view models, etc. But I would like to be excellent. That's why that's my problem. To be excellent into what we do. Not simply make some simple tests for some view models. I would like to make tests for all my legacy code.
Yes.
Because I come with an existent project with lot of classes, lot of view models, lot of layers in my projects, and I would like to understand how to make tests for this legacy code. Not
Got it. So, how do you become an excellent swimmer?
Yes.
Swimming.
By practice.
Deliberate practice. Practicing with intention, right? With a plan, right? With a coach, timing yourself, and so on, right? The same way, you need to practice with intention. And you're not gonna, it's not like this. I want to be excellent at something, and then I'm gonna apply it at work. That's not how it works.
Yes.
You're gonna learn at work. You are in a workplace where they allow you to write tests. If you see people here in the chat, like most people have the opposite. Like they want to write tests, but they are in a place where there's no space for it. So you already have the first step. There's the hardest one, which is
I have the first step.
you have that space, that freedom to do it. Yes. And don't expect to be excellent the first time you do it. Just like you were not excellent the first time you ride a bike or whatever you did, right? Were you an excellent professor the first time you gave a class? No.
Yes.
You became better, right? You became better and better and better and better and better and better. You cannot wait to be excellent to start doing something, because you become excellent by doing it. It's backwards.
Yeah.
So you need to practice, right? So you get the books. The books will tell you what you need to do, but then you need to do it. And one thing about design patterns is that it's not like you read the book and you try to apply the patterns everywhere. Yeah. Patterns, it solve very specific problems. And when you have those problems, you can use a pattern to solve it. Right?
Exactly. Like you mentioned some techniques there, like mocking and stabbing. The goal is not to apply mocking and stabbing, excuse me, or some creational design patterns, right? Like the factory pattern, for example. It's not gonna, the goal is not to say, okay, guys, like we're gonna use the factory pattern now, and that's gonna give you bonus points, or like, I don't know, street credit, like we use 12 design patterns from the Golf book in our project. No, it doesn't work like that. The way you should approach these things is like understand what sort of problems are you facing, and based on those problems, now, okay, what kind of tools do I have to solve those problems, right? So for example, you mentioned stabbing and mocking, like want to test you want to test something, right? And you probably just can't test the specific input and get specific output in terms of like a pure function or something like that. You have collaborators.
Yes.
So, okay, how can I test my system under test with a collaborator? And then you introduce the idea of, you implement the mocking part. And then for this mocking, for like, of course, it's like a test double, right? You have like a bunch of ways you can do that. You have spies, you have stubs, you have fakes, right?
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, when you see it, I think when you see it through this prism, and not just like, oh, I have to do these things. No, like what you have to do is solve your problems, right? And keep building on your app indefinitely, and keep adding features in your apps indefinitely. And that's exactly what the business wants as well, right? So,
Yes.
For example,
Yeah.
why do you want to write tests, right? We need to also set like, why do we write tests?
To check if my code, my logics it's correct for all before make functional tests, to be sure that what I think will be work, will be running independently from how input is.
Yes.
That's the idea of test. Yes.
And that works now, right? That you can prove that your function works now, and it can also prove that it works tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, because you can automatically run those tests. And with those tests in place, you can have continuous integration. Continuous integration is when everyone is merging code several times a day and working together effectively, because you can run the tests and you can guarantee that your changes didn't break someone else's code, and so on. And with continuous integration in place, you can have continuous delivery, where you're continuously delivering builds to QA engineers, to stakeholders, to clients. And then with continuous delivery, you can have continuous deploy, where you're continuously automatically deploying the app to the App Store several times a week, right? So one thing leads to the other, to the other, to the other. So you need to understand the goal of this, because when you have this goal set, why I do what I do, then it's much easier to just get the skills to get in there, right? To even convince your boss. For some people that are watching now and think like, oh, I cannot convince my boss. There are higher goals to test. It's not, you don't do testing for the sake of testing. You don't use design patterns for the sake of design patterns. We do it to achieve a higher goal, right? Because there is a cost in doing everything we do. So the rewards needs to be higher than the cost for it to be something that you want to do, right? Now, you want to be proficient at doing it. And you're going to be proficient by practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing. And you already have the space at work to do it. So you need to do it. You understand that you won't be perfect. You won't be excellent from day one. It's going to take some time. Now, if you want to accelerate that, you can take courses, you can read books, as you're doing already, right?
Yes.
You understand. You're a professor. You understand how learning works.
Yes.
So you need to practice, 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 practice.
And I think I should have mentors to do this very well. But sometimes when you read books, it's not so sure that you understand very well. You should have some.
I mean, we said it to Fernando as well. Like, take for granted that you want, like, take for granted that you think you will understand, but you don't. Like, just, you're gonna verify that you understood once you did it. Like, once you said, okay, I thought I got it, let me prove it now. You want the proof.
There are things that are read in books and took me 5 years to actually understand them. I read in a book, I took a leap of faith. Hey, I trust this author. I trust this person. I'm going to do what they're saying I have to do. And I fail once, twice, but like, this person, I trust this person, I have a leap of faith, which is one of the steps here. Have faith in the process. Trust the process. And after doing a long, long time, it clicked. 5 years, it clicked. For some people, it clicks faster. For some people, it takes more time. But you read the books, some things are not going to make sense. You're going to practice and practice, and you're going to have faith. And one day, it clicks.
I should take my time. Should take my time to understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you want to accelerate, Yes,
Yeah.
you can if you have mentors that can help you at work, you work with a lot of good developers, as you said, that can teach you. They were doing testing, they were doing good architecture, they were like high level top guys. Learn from them as
Okay.
much as you can.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I should give me some time to understand and not be to attend to have this seniority very quickly. I should make practice. I should make really a good plan for maybe this year. Concentrated on tests and make good tests in my projects and involved in this in this issue to work especially with tests. That will be a habit for me.
It will become a habit if you do it every day consistently.
Yes.
You're going to become faster, you're going to become better, everything is going to start making more sense, you're going to find better techniques, you're going to become more efficient. It takes time. Everyone has a different time. A lot of people ask me, Caio, how long does it take to be proficient in testing? Like, it depends on the person. How long does it take to get a jiu-jitsu black belt? On average, to become a jiu-jitsu black belt, it's 10 years. Now, there are people that did it in 3. Now, if you start your journey thinking you're going to make it in 3, you're probably going to give up, because that's very, very rare. Like, few cases, like, you can count in your hand how many people got a black belt in 3 years. So
Yes.
they are outliers. Don't base your decisions, your life, in outliers, right? So you need to understand. And that's why what you want to achieve, they are hard things, You're trying to learn very, very hard, unintuitive skills that takes a lot of practice. That's why I think this framework is also going to help you. Why do you want to become so proficient and so good at what you do? Right? Set a very high goal. A very good why. Then you set the goals you want to achieve. Then the plan. And then you have to have faith. Trust the process. As they say, set plans like an adult, but believe in the plans like a child.
Yes.
Like a child believes that everything is possible,
Yes.
Set plans like an adult, but believe in it like a child. And stick to the plan,
Yes.
Adjust. There will be challenges in the way. That's why you need a very good why, because when things get hard, when you're working in a place where people don't believe in it, then you're going to have challenges. You're going to have challenges, and you need to be prepared for those challenges. You need to have a very good reason why you want to become a black belt, why you want to be so good and be a reference, in the industry, have these very, very, very good skills.
Thank you. Yes, I understand now. It should take time, have a good plan, and practice. Practice really in their project, and accept that it not will be very quickly to have to be good and have an excellent skills in tests or in design patterns, etc. It should take time. Everything in the world should take time.
It takes time.
Yeah, focus on the problems. You understand to find out the problems that you're trying to solve, and don't have like this fear of missing out, on all the tools, all the design patterns, all the algorithms, all that stuff. Just understand the problem. That's like the first thing you need to do. Look into the problem, and then sure, you can find out what's like the best way, or like, and then that's like the plan phase, right? How can I solve this problem now, right? What should I, how should I plan? What should I plan for? What should I use to do that? And yeah, just stay true,
Yes. Thank you.
And the shortcut is to learn from others.
Absolutely.
Stand on the shoulder of giants. Like, if you want to learn karate, you can either recreate karate from scratch on your own,
Yes.
or you can learn from others that master the art. And there's like all this evolutionary cycle that happened to the art being evolved from one master to the other master to the other to the other to the other to the modern days, right? And that's exactly what happens with every industry. Like in the software industry, there's all this body of knowledge that's been built over time in books, in courses, that you need to take advantage of and invest in your education.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
So that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you for you, Caio and Mike. Really, it's a pleasure for me to be with you, to understand, and I think that I'm convinced that I should take time to make to have this excellent level that I want to be a really senior iOS developer, not by years, or that I work in very great society, etc. I will be honest that for me, when you spoke afternoon about black petting, etc., I think that I have very, very, very large gap between my level, what everyone know his level, and this high level of developers. It should make maybe I can't be this black belt developers, but I will try to be very senior, real senior iOS developer.
Remove the word try from your vocabulary. You either going to make it or not. Make sense?
Yes.
Every black belt was in your position with your level of skills at some point. No one was born a black belt.
Yes.
Now, if you want to commit, you're not going to say, I'm going to try. I never met a black belt that said, I'm going to try to be a black belt, and they made it. Because it's not about trying. No, it's sticking through the hard phase, to the challenges. And that's why you need to set a very good reason why. Set high goals, like very, very high goals, like becoming a black belt, become the best top of the game. Get a plan to get there. Plan is like research phase. You need to understand the skills you need to build, not just in programming, but also like leadership, social skills, and so on. And have faith and be true. Trust the process. So it's not about try. If you want to be it, you can do it. But you need to do it. You need to commit.
I will, not I try.
Okay.
I think, yes.
Awesome.
Awesome. So patience and practice with intention. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Walid.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.